In this video, I want to show you how you can 10x your content creation by using a new artificial intelligence tool called Castmagic. Let's dive in.
So here it is, Castmagic. I came across Castmagic a few months ago, and man, has it really increased my output as a content creator and saved so much time. So here we are on the Castmagic site. It's castmagic.io, and it says turn audio into content like magic, and I'm telling you, it really does. Let's talk for a minute about who might want to use Castmagic. All right, we're talking about anyone who wants to turn their audio into ready-to-use content. I'm going to throw one more idea out at you, though, because it could be video as well. This could be for transcriptions, for show notes, summaries, or even social content. So honestly, podcasters, YouTube creators, social media influencers or marketers can all use Castmagic to help them increase their content output as well as reachability. If you go up to use cases, they provide a little bit more information about some examples for how to use Castmagic for coaching, customer discovery, meetings, sales calls, and finally what I've really been using it most for, podcasts and YouTube, as well as, like I said, social media. Now let's get into the pricing a little bit, and I want to be fully transparent right up front and tell you that when I purchased my plan on Castmagic, I actually got an AppSumo deal, and I bought 2 credits worth of time on Castmagic, and when I get into my account, I'll show you what that gave me in terms of the amount of episodes and minutes that I can use. But if we go to pricing, I also want to point out that if you follow the link in the description of this video, or you head to dankreines.com/Castmagic, then it is an affiliate link. And so if you sign up, then you and I both benefit because I get a little bit back from from Castmagic from you signing up. But if you're ready to 10x your content, what you can do is to sign up for Castmagic, and they give you a week for free and some free minutes to use. If you're paying monthly, 200 minutes per month starts at $39 a month, 500 minutes, $99 a month, and if you really need 1,500 minutes per month, it's $299 per month. If you choose to pay annually, which is what I usually prefer, save you a little bit of money in the long run, we're talking about $23, $59, and $179 per month. What does that get you? It gets you, of course, time, and it gets you workspaces, the content, many different content outputs, custom prompts for the AI, the generative AI feature, and I'll go into that in a little bit. If you are going with the higher plans, it'll give you agency support as well as unlimited prompts for the generative AI. But all 3 plans give you magic chat, titles and keywords, and all of the rest of the AI outputs that are generated once you upload content into Castmagic. So that's the pricing. Now I want to jump into the tool and let you know how it's used and really what it's used for. Here I am in Castmagic. This is really my recordings page, or what I like to consider the dashboard. And I want to just first go through what kinds of files you can upload. So you can upload files from your computer. You can click and drag either M4A, MP3, MP4, WAV, or AAC files. So those are all audio files, or even video that you want to convert to audio. You can even import directly from YouTube, and if you click, all you have to do is drop a YouTube URL. Just so you know, it must be a public video. So once you've published a video and made it public, then you can grab the YouTube URL, click submit, and it generates the information and the content right from that published YouTube video. Castmagic now integrates with Zapier. So if you have a Zapier account and integration, you can turn that on. You can even import Reels from Instagram by dropping the URL in here. Or if you are a podcaster, you can sync your show's RSS feed, and so that episodes from your podcast come into Castmagic automatically, and then you can import from there. So let me show you how to use Castmagic, and in this case, I'm going to use it for a podcast episode. Since I have the episode audio on my desktop, I'm going to click to browse files on my computer, choose the audio that I want, and then select to import it into Castmagic. Now for me, I've chosen in my settings to group or categorize the recordings by number. So for me, this is episode 162, and right now it's just titled episode 162, but I'm going to actually call it Imposter Syndrome. Let me edit that and finish typing the title. I think I hit enter before I was really ready. And then you could choose if you want the speakers that are expected, any kind of magic words where you can include more spelling suggestions that would be relevant to the AI, and then a context prompt. For right now, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to click Save Recording. So that is the transcription is completed. When I click into the episode, you'll see that the first thing that I see on my screen is the transcription of the audio that was uploaded. I get a warning here that there are unlabeled speakers, and for best results, please label your speakers. Now, in this episode, it's actually a solo podcast. So if I click on speaker A and search, because I've used this before, it's actually finding me. You can click to add a new speaker here and put in the name of your speaker or your guest and their role. Are they the host or are they the guest? But in my case, I'm already in. So when I click speaker A, it finds me down here. I click my name, and now it matches. Every time I speak, it labels the name. I'm not exactly sure why, but you can see here that it says speaker B. Actually, I do know why. My podcast is part of a podcast network, and therefore I embedded some audio by a different speaker. So actually, I'm going to add a new speaker here. I'm going to call him Josh, and I'm just going to say Josh is a guest and save him. So now when Josh comes on and reads the podcast network promotion as part of that podcast episode, he is labeled as a speaker as well. So what's great is that within seconds of me uploading this audio, it's already been compiled in a transcript. I've been able to label each speaker that's part of this episode, and if I really wanted to, I can go through and edit the transcript. I will tell you that in my experience and from doing a little bit of research, the transcription service in Castmagic is exceptional. It's extremely accurate, and honestly, you will probably have very little to no editing to do of the transcript. But if you wanted to, you can click edit in each of the different sections of your transcript, and then like here, it got my last, and I got my last name wrong too. So if I type in my last name there and I edit it, the rest of this looks okay. We're going to save. And then again, anytime you need to edit your transcript, just click the edit button and then make whatever changes you need. So this is the entire transcript of this solo episode. And what's great is that for show notes or in a description of a video, if you want to actually go ahead and use the transcript later, you can click download and download the text. You can download text without timestamps, download the original, or put it in one of the following formats, even including a CSV or comma separated. For now, I'm going to download the text without the timestamps. And I'll show you what that looks like. So here's my downloaded transcript of this episode. Again, it took out the timestamps, but it does leave in the label of who's speaking. You could always go back through and get rid of those if you're including it in show notes or a blog post or website page. But for now, I chose to leave in the names of the speakers, just not the timestamps. So here is one of my favorite features of using Castmagic. And I left that page open in real time so you could see how quickly the AI generates their AI content. Here in Castmagic, the AI allows you to do so much with your content, and that's why you get to save hours and hours of work and, like I said, 10x your content and make it that much more powerful while actually saving time doing it. Let me go through quickly some of the different types of AI content that gets generated from just one piece of content, one piece of audio or one video. First, the AI generates 10 different title ideas. So, as I said before, or when I typed in the title of this episode before, I mentioned it was about imposter syndrome. So my next podcast is going to be all about imposter syndrome, and the AI generated 10 possible title choices for me to choose from. Let's just say I read through these and I want to use one. I can then plug it into my podcast host, and that becomes my title. If I really don't like any, I could click the modify button and then even suggest to make it longer, shorter, more casual, more serious, or rerun the original. For now, I'm going to leave it alone because actually I'm seeing that I kind of like either numbers 2 or 3. Imposter syndrome, how it affects educators and strategies for overcoming it, or unmasking imposter syndrome, understanding its types and ways to combat it. That's so much of what I talked about in the podcast, so I'm really glad that Castmagic's AI was able to capture that. It's not that I don't like any of the other titles, but I think those two are really standing out to me right now. Going through the rest of the types of content or content ideas that are generated from the audio, first we have keywords. The AI was able to pick up on all of these keywords that were used in the episode so that now I can plug them into either my podcast host or YouTube and make it a little bit more searchable. And if you think a lot about SEO and search optimization, then those keywords could be ones that you plug in to really make your content stand out and also be searched and recognized by your audience. This one's really cool. This type of content here is generated as an introduction. So now, in my podcast episode that I uploaded, I already have an introduction, but let's just say you take a piece of raw audio and you really don't have a title or an introduction in mind yet. You can use this, and here's what it sounds like. Welcome back, listeners, to another episode of the Leader of Learning podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Dan Kreines, and I'm thrilled to be back after a brief hiatus. In today's episode, we're going to explore a topic that's close to my heart, imposter syndrome. I'll share why I took a break from podcasting and how imposter syndrome played a role in that decision. But more importantly, we'll delve into what imposter syndrome is, how it affects people, and the various types of it. And of course, we'll discuss strategies to overcome it. So sit back, relax, and let's dive into this journey of understanding and conquering imposter syndrome. Welcome to the Leader of Learning podcast, where we help educators grow their impact as instructional leaders. Let's get started. Honestly, that's a pretty good introduction, and what I love about it is, again, how much it captured from the audio that I've uploaded from my podcast episode. Here's another feature that I really love. They give you a time-stamped overview of the most important points that you've made or your guest has made in your podcast or your video or your social media content. So I'm thinking for YouTube especially, if we want to create chapters, we can take this information. Now, it's not exactly formatted properly for YouTube necessarily, but if you click the copy content button up here, or you click and drag and highlight, all you would have to do is probably knock off the brackets and maybe these first couple of zeros, and there you have your timestamps or your chapters for your YouTube video. And now when your viewers go to watch it, they can click through and maybe just skip the parts that they don't necessarily want to listen to, or jump to parts that they're a little bit more eager and excited about listening to. I'm actually noticing that looks like there's a little bit of a typing error here. I had to go back up for a minute, and it looks like imposter in most other cases is spelled with an ER at the end, but for some reason in the timestamped view, it looks like there are a couple of them. This one's right. So you might just have to be a little bit careful, and even in the timestamps, as well as, of course, the transcription that we mentioned before, you might just have to kind of proofread and make sure that everything is spelled the way you want it to. In this section, the AI comes up with questions that are generated from the content, from, in this case, the podcast episode. And how might you want to use these questions? Well, it could be, again, to create more content from this longer piece, this full-length podcast episode. It could be just to engage your audience a little bit further. But those are some questions. And again, you can modify it however you'd like: longer, shorter, casual, serious, rerun it, or you can enter a custom modification as well. This one I love a lot as well: key topics and bullets. So it actually creates a bulleted list or an outline of the major points, the key topics that you've covered in your content, in your podcast or your video. And this one is great if you're taking that longer content and chunking it out and repurposing it into shorter content. You can actually go back and find the most important clips, quotes, hooks, and timestamps. So if you're looking for a really great part, like one little part of the longer content, you might be able to come into the clip finder and look for, like I said, those quotes or those hooks. Let me give you an example. So here at 4 minutes and 13 seconds in the audio, I said perfectionists set excessively high goals for themselves, and when they fail to reach a goal, they experience major self-doubt and worry that they're not going to be able to measure up. I could do a couple of things with that information. I can go back to my original editing software and just find and isolate that clip. I could also, if I click this, go back to the transcript itself and find where in the transcript this is. And what did we say? It was around 4 minutes. So here it is. Perfectionists set excessively high goals for themselves. And when they fail to reach a goal, they experience major self-doubt and worry that they're not going to be able to measure up. So, like I said, once you're in, let me go back to the AI content. Once you're in the area for Clip Finder, you can click on the timestamps down here, or the range in time, and it brings you back to the original transcript where you can find and play and edit and copy and paste, or whatever you want to do with the area of the transcript. And finally, they give you some ideas for turning your content into social media content. So here I have a podcast clip or audio or podcast episode, and maybe I want to repurpose it as a reel. They give me a reel script. Welcome back to the Leader of Learning podcast. In this episode, we dove deep into the topic of imposter syndrome and so on and so forth. And they even give the voiceover. This podcast is a proud member of the Teach Better Podcast Network. I don't know that I would need that, but the rest of this might be useful for creating a reel around the longer content. This I love a lot, a LinkedIn post. You can just straight up copy everything here or modify it a little bit if you need, but this is an entire LinkedIn post based on the content. And this one is actually probably one of my favorites, where I do have an email list, and I like sending out emails about the new content that I create. So the AI here in Castmagic has taken a lot of the guesswork out of it. I can save so much time by looking through even a subject line, right? Looking through what they've given me as newsletter content and letting my community, my email subscribers, know about this new episode that I have coming out. And they even have social media content for Twitter, or X as we call it these days. All right, so this is an example of an X thread with not just one, but 6 tweets, I think we're still calling them tweets, that we can put as part of a thread on X, and a couple of relevant hashtags down there. And finally, I don't want to confuse you by saying threads again, but threads at this point is Instagram's version of Twitter or X. And so this is another thread that you can put on Threads if you are on that platform. Finally, I just want to take you through the third feature of what you can do with a piece of content that you upload here. This one's called Magic Chat. So it says, welcome to Magic Chat, and you can use the prompt input below or ask anything you want about this particular recording, right? So this is Castmagic's version of generative AI, kind of like ChatGPT, where you can ask it to come up with ideas or answers to your questions about the specific content that you've uploaded. So in this case, again, I've uploaded my podcast episode on imposter syndrome. They give you some examples that you can try, or you can ask, of course, your own prompt into this generative AI feature, and then Castmagic will do the magic. Let's say I want to have Castmagic write a 600-word blog post about this content. I simply click. It gives me the prompt. It says, using the context from this recording, write a comprehensive 600-word blog post expanding on the topics discussed. Include a title, subheader, as well as section headers for each section of the piece. And very quickly, and you saw that in real time, it generated that blog post for me. One other idea you can do is to come out with key themes or the lessons learned or even 3 fun facts. So let me try one more prompt here. I'll just do one on my own, and I will say, just because it wasn't one of the social media features, I'll say create a Facebook page post that would entice my followers to listen to this episode. And let's see what the AI does. It actually gives you the time span. I think that was 3 seconds. So in 3 seconds, it gave me this Facebook page post. New episode alert. Are you ready to dive into the topic of imposter syndrome? This is great. Honestly, I'm not spending a ton of money on this tool. I think it's very, very reasonably priced, and yet it does so much, and it is saving me so much time. So that's the Magic Chat feature. And again, I just want to remind you that each time you do Magic Chat, it doesn't cost anything extra, but you're limited to the content that you've used just for that upload. So in this case, again, just this episode on on imposter syndrome that I uploaded. If I go back to my recordings, now I can go back into any of these uploads that I've done, and it would basically generate new AI content, and I could go back into the generative AI chat feature, and it would be specific to that episode. And I'll show you an example. This is an interview episode that I did with my guest Alex. So again, I've gone ahead and labeled the different speakers. There are parts that I talk and parts where Alex talks. And then for the AI content, it's different now. It's not about the episode that I put in on imposter syndrome. Now we're talking about a different one where we covered everything from teacher professional development to leading as an introvert, all sorts of stuff. Just before we go, I want to share a couple of more features that Castmagic has, as well as kind of give you my parting thoughts about what I love and maybe what I think needs to be improved here in this tool. First, as a beta feature right now, Castmagic Pages is something that the company is exploring, and it says you can use up to 5 recordings to draft long-form editable content. So similar to Magic Chat, which was the generative AI feature, you can use Pages to generate content from a prompt that you come up with. And it says seriously, it can be anything. But unlike Magic Chat, Pages uses many recordings as context, uses GPT-4, and allows you to edit your results right here. So in other words, this is where instead of just one piece of content, the Magic Chat can actually take up to 5 recordings and generate AI from all 5 of those recordings. So a little bit more comprehensive and a little bit more all-encompassing of your content and really your brand. Also, if you come over to speakers, it keeps all of the speakers that you've ever used in your content before, whether they be hosts or guests. If you're a podcaster like me and you do interview shows, it keeps track. And so if you produce recurring segments or recurring episodes with the same host and the same guests, then you can just come back and choose a guest that you've already entered into the system. And finally, I just want to point out too that you can customize some of these things. So first off, you can give your space a name, and you can create potentially new spaces. So this one I just call Leader of Learning because that's the name of my podcast. You can label your recordings by number, season with episode number, freeform, or none. I like to keep it numbered because for the most part I'm using Castmagic for my podcast episodes, and I like to keep track of which ones have come in what order. Again, magic words like we saw before, you can include spelling suggestions for the AI that's relevant to your recordings. So if you're in a very specific niche or market and there are terminologies or some jargon that you think that the Magic AI might have trouble with, you can put that in. And of course, some billing and the danger zone where you would delete a space or remove certain presets. So my final thoughts, why Castmagic? Well, honestly, it says it right here, automate all the tedious work instantly. I have really learned in my life as an educator, as a parent, as a content creator, how to value my time. And I think of time very differently now than I did when I was younger. And so for me, as they say, time is money. So Castmagic here, you're getting cutting-edge language models, works instantly, purpose-built for podcasts, and again, it could be YouTubing and it could be social media as well. Guaranteed results. You can try it before you buy. Again, there's a link in the description box down below. If you grab it, it's an affiliate link. I get a kickback, but also you can go ahead and try Castmagic for free for a little while before deciding on whether or not it's right for you. And the other advantages are you don't have to pay for transcription services. I know that there are some other really great artificial intelligence tools that do the transcription, and I've used some of them, but they cost extra. And so sometimes it gets to be pretty expensive. So if you're looking for really high quality and very fast transcription through artificial intelligence, then this might be the way to go. I'm going to focus, though, on that last one. They say high touch and high lift. I mean, this is easy. I really think that the entry point here is pretty low in terms of a learning curve. There's not a lot that you need to learn how to do. I think the most complicated part could be if you really want to get into some more complicated and advanced prompts for the generative AI feature, the Magic Chat. But honestly, it was pretty easy for me to just pick up and start using right away. The downside to this, and there's really not much, but some of the things that I've noticed, especially as I was recording this video, are that sometimes when you ask the AI to do extra that it doesn't automatically do when you upload or when you click into the AI, the Magic AI part, is that it may take a while. There were some things that it did in a few seconds, but there are other things like asking it to write full blog posts that may take a little bit longer. So I don't want to discourage you, but I just want to warn you that it may take a little bit longer than expected. And there is a chance that you might have to refresh the page or somehow kind of reset Castmagic by closing your browser and opening it back up if something gets stuck or takes too long. But honestly, I really haven't found too many downsides or cons to this service yet, and that's why I would really recommend it for you if you're creating some kind of content, whether it's a podcast, YouTube videos, or social media content.
So that's it. Now you've seen how to use most of the features of Castmagic. The great thing about this tool is that they are updating it all the time and adding new and updated features so that you and I can continue to max out our content creation efforts by actually reducing the amount of time that we spend on it. If you're using this product already, or if you start using this product, let me know in the comments in this video, what are some areas that maybe I didn't cover in this video that you want to learn more about when it comes to using Castmagic? Otherwise, go ahead and click the link in the description below to give it a try and try it out for free. See if you like it. Again, it is an affiliate link, so you win and I win as well if you go ahead and sign up for a paid version of Castmagic. And as always, if you like the content that I share here on my channel, whether it's digital learning, technology, or in this case, tools for content creation, go ahead and like the video, and I really hope you subscribe to the channel. We'll see you next time. Thanks so much for watching.